Armageddon Experiment here again, and today we're going to be going over choosing a rifle. I am not going to just outright recommend a brand of rifle because everybody has different needs and different things, and I'm not bankrolled by anybody. So it's more of a methodology and concept kind of thing. And here we go. So choosing a rifle. First off, we got to choose the cartridge that we want to be shooting. Before we pick platforms or anything else. So the first thing that we look at is range, right? Not how far can the bullet go, because people will be shooting 22 long rifle out super far. Doesn't mean it's going to be accurate. It doesn't mean it's going to have good terminal ballistics. So what targets are we shooting? Are we shooting at elk or grizzly bears? Are we shooting at deer? Are we shooting at squirrels? Are we shooting at, things that like to take intermediate cartridges? And again, what range are we taking these targets at? And affordability. There are some awesome rounds on the market right now that kind of do, I wouldn't want to say everything because nothing does everything, but it's called 6mm arc or something. That bullet is phenomenal. All right. It's $5 or $10 a round or something. I don't know. It's too expensive for me. I work for my money. And then weight, right? Cartridge weight does matter if we're talking in the context of this video, which is a prepping sort of sense, which is, hey, how much does a full combat load weigh? If I have to carry an ammo can of this, how many rounds am I going to be able to carry? It's something that you kind of want to think about when we're talking about getting a whole lot of rounds. Hey, dog. So next up, when we start picking our round, there's some examples of some ballistic charts. I lifted these online. I'll leave a link to all the graphics or whatever I use in the description of the video. Yeah, I'm filming this on my bed because, whatever. Basically, we have here, you see where it says range, velocity, energy, elevation, right? This is for 308. Obviously it'll say it on the thing. I just didn't get it. So you have the different grain of bullet. That's how heavy the actual projectile of the bullet is. Different brands, different weights. Sometimes they perform differently on different guns. If you're trying to build a long range gun, or really any gun for that matter, any rifle, you need to dope it and shoot it with the ammo that you plan to use for duty so you know where your holds are. Personally, I use 62 grain green tips. It's not the best round, but it's affordable. It's definitely a round, and I know my holds. I know what the round is going to do, and that's more important than anything else here. You can have the greatest magic bullet, but if you can't hit anything with it, then you might as well have no bullet at all. So, sorry on that little tangent. We have range, right? Obviously, hey, this is how far this data was collected. We have velocity. This is how fast the round was going. At certain ranges, right? Obviously, the energy, hey, this is how much force was actually applied to the target. And then elevation is basically bullet drop in inches. And this is what I'm talking about, knowing your holds. You got to aim a little higher sometimes. And this kind of shows, it's the 168 grain has about 9, I can't see, more inches of drop than the 130 grain bullets. You might want to know that. And then here is a example of 5.56 to 2 grain. This is what I shoot, right? Obviously here it's it says 00 at 200. That means this is on a 200 yard zero. So, when you're looking at zeroing your rifle, that'll be a whole other thing about getting your rifle ready. It's kind of how you read these charts. There's also some tools online you can use where you can just punch in they might have a round preloaded, but you punch in the cartridge size, the weight, and the range, and it'll give you in the barrel length, and it'll give you all of I just lost my train of thought. That's kind of funny. It'll give you all the information that you need to make decisions on based on what rounds we want to get. It's extremely important. So when we decide the round, we need to look at a platform. By platform, I mean what kind of rifle are we getting? Okay. Are we going to get a Kalashnikov pattern rifle? Those are your AK-47s, AKM, AK-74s, so on and so forth. Are we going to get an AR-15 pattern rifle? If you're in the United States, I'm just going to be honest, an AR pattern rifle is going to be the easiest thing for you to get your hands on. It's going to be the easiest thing for you to run. That's just the way it is. If you can source a good Kalashnikov, got the money for it, hey man, go for it. One thing that I want to mention about platform, as far as costs go, right? It's like foreign weapons, United States, foreign weapons like AKs are going to be harder to get, and they're not as standardized as the AR is. There's a whole history behind that, what have you. I'm on cost. I'm going to say something that some of you may not like. I will never purchase a rifle from Palmetto State Armory. I'm telling you, do not do it. Palmetto State Armory has a history of they bankroll creators, say, hey, you have to sell through your code X amount of thousands of dollars a year of our product to stay partnered with us, and we'll keep paying you. We'll keep sending you shit to review. Like, okay, great. But when people say, hey, you're using bad parts in your AKs on purpose, they ban them from buying anything from the site. If you want to look, just look it up on YouTube. People will be talking about it, whatever. So like, there's a lot of big names. I'm not going to say who, necessarily, do your own homework. But like, these big companies will be bankrolling people to buy stuff for the sake of, oh, but AR for, $500. There is no such thing as a good AR for $500 anymore. There were 10 years ago? Absolutely. Not any longer. Save the money to buy something good. Good enough is just good. And this whole, oh, I'm going to save the money to train later. Stop. Just stop. Like, that's when we start getting into buying a Trevor versus, a BCM upper for our ARs. Right? There, I just name dropped a brand that I would bank my life on. Go down and spend some decent money on an AR. About $1,000 will get you an AR that will last you for the rest of your life. Go get something that's just going to last you, because we're talking about longevity here. Because I don't think we want to be spending our ammo money and our training money on AR parts down the road or AK parts. Like, do not buy an AK from PSA. Just don't do it. There's plenty of videos on why. There's plenty of reasons why. They don't know what they're doing, and I'm going to say they don't care what they're doing. So that's my rant about PSA and cost, because I know that people watching this video are going to be on that website. Wait, save the money, crush some Uber Eats, go hustle and get the right tools for the job. All right. With that, all that said about cost, engineering for the round. If you like a great example, if you're shooting pigs like hogs within 100 yards, 7.62 by 3.9 is a good choice. For example, I'm not saying there's not other great rounds for that, but I'm just using this as an example. An AR-15 needs to be specially built and tuned to fire 7.62 by 3.9, which is what the AKM AK-47 uses. If you are dead set on getting 7.62 by 3.9, you need to source an AK. I wouldn't source anything else. Do not source it on an AR. They're finicky, whatever. And it's just like 5.56 AKs, right? The data packs just don't exist. They haven't been made. And at least they haven't been made very well. So, hey, I'm going to shoot 5.56 or 2.23. Okay, then AR-15 is the rifle you need to get. That's the way that goes. If you decide you're going to shoot 9mm, there's plenty of 9mm options. Newsflash, AR-9s kind of suck. People that build guns use AR-9s because they're like project cars. Like they're finicky. We like that kind of stuff. Just keep that in mind when we kind of go into this next thing is we're talking about weight, other equipment, kit, whatever, is Barrel length matters, right? If I am trying to shoot targets at 800 plus, like a 14-inch barrel is probably not going to cut it. Probably not going to cut it. If you're like, hey, I need a really short barrel, 7.62 by 3.9, 300 blackout. 300 blackout is a 7.62 bullet crammed into a 5.56 case. Those perform really, really well out of short barrels. If you need 7.62 by 3.9, live in the United States, just go get a 300 blackout. It's not exactly the same, but it'll do the things. So barrel length is important. You can look at the dope charts, what have you. Just remember what we are doing realistically here. Yeah, being able to push your AR-15 or your service rifle out to 500 yards, like, that's awesome. And that should be the standard for marksmanship and shooting to begin with. The reason why it's center, because you're never actually going to shoot that far. At least not in most civilian contexts. Right, so do we really need awesome thermal ballistics at 500? No. We don't. So keep that in mind when we start looking at cost and try to get the most bang for your buck for everything. Weight. Right? Obviously, different weapons weigh more. I'm telling you right now, getting an FAL, like, those things are heavy. I've used them, I've carried them, they are heavy. Keep that in mind, that you're going to be potentially having to do these long foot movements with this rifle. I'm not saying skimp on durability, but also don't be getting, full bull barrels for no reason either. So I have another equipment on our slide because, I don't know what I'm doing. All right. Optics, lights, and slings. I didn't put lasers on here because that kind of goes outside the context of this video. If you want a laser for night vision, which you're probably going to need, you can, there's plenty of other resources on that. And, you're going to be spending buku bucks on lasers. So optics, lights, and slides, right? Optics, like, first thing what I look at, man, is cost. Is cost. And again, you get what you pay for. I'm a poor, so I run some poor stuff. Personally, I run a 6-hour optic on one and a primary arms optic on the other one. LPVOs, like, they're great. I personally don't like them. It's a preference thing. But I know people who love them and use them and whatever. They're fine optics. But just note, you're saving it for the optic. You're going to buy a mount. That's fine. Go get a good mount. Like, Arrow makes decent mounts. You buy them on, like, whatever website. I'd stay away from Optics Planet. Their customer service sucks. And you're going to be waiting, potentially for months for your stuff that you paid for, and they won't refund it. It's a whole thing. Excuse me. So with cost, we want to look at longevity. Okay. If you're buying a red dot, get one that has a night vision mode, so you can passively aim using night vision. It might cost you a little more, but I promise in the long run it's good, because then you're not going to replace an optic and have a paperweight hanging out that you don't want to use. Another thing to look at is needed range. If you're shooting 200 yards and in, and your eyesight's fine, hey, spending 200 bucks on a red dot might be the move for you. You don't need to go balling out on some magnified optic. I personally like prism optics. They're not the best quality, but they're durable. You're not going to break it. They work. So the thing is, it works, right? It works. It's proven. The U.S. Army's main magnified optic everybody loves is a prism optic. All right. So again, a lot of these YouTubers and people make recommendations are bankrolled by by certain companies. I am not bankrolled by anyone. So most prism optics, they're quality made, work fine. All right, and I said I was, going to stay away from certain brands, certain things, whatever. Streamlight. If you need a light, buy a fucking Streamlight. I have multiple friends that have taken Streamlights to Iraq and Afghanistan, and the Streamlights perform great. I understand Surefire is a great brand, and they make great lights. Okay, but it's like $300 worth of great light. Streamlight's like $100 worth of great light. And I don't know about you, but I'm not throwing my AR over a bridge. And if I am, and the light breaks, I'll just kind of accept it. So get a Streamlight. I've been using the same Streamlights for years and years, and like hard use.